Hello and welcome
Hello.
to another video from those two blokes. This bloke,
Scott Holmes, this bloke.
Paul Mount. And as we prepare to greet Ant-Man and the Wasp to UK cinemas, we've got to wait a month. The Americans get it
Why?
first. Pesky football, apparently.
Football,
Some sort of
boom.
football tournament, I don't understand. Anyway, we thought we'd celebrate 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe by running down our top 5 films from the Marvel Universe, not including Deadpool, X-Men, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, because they're not the Marvel Studios. So we're just going to do the Marvel films themselves. This is Those Two Blokes
Do MCU. Starting with
Number 5. And my number 5 takes us right back to the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with
All those years ago.
the original Iron Man. I picked that one because it just blew me away when I saw it, because this is obviously a new cinematic universe with characters I'd enjoyed when I was a kid. Never thought I'd see them on the screen, and when Jon Favreau directed Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark Iron Man, it literally was a comic strip on the screen in ways I'd never really seen it before with all the Batman and Superman films we'd had. But this seemed more emblematic of what comics were like on the screen, and it still stands up today. I know the rest of the Iron Man franchise people have two minds about. You've barely got one mind to start with, but I know you're not too keen on Iron Man 3. But Iron Man, or Iron Man 1 as you might call it, gets my vote as number 5 in my Marvel Cinematic Universe top 5. So,
My number 5 is a bit more up to date than the first Iron Man, because you can't get any more further back. I've gone for Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange.
Ooh.
Now I've gone for Doctor Strange because the idea and the story behind it, the character was very unexplored in this kind of media, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch did a fantastic job of bringing that character to life, bringing the story to life, and also did very well as Dormammu.
and it was an interesting film because the Marvel films before then had been supervillains and super bad guys and aliens, but this went into the world of magic and the metaphysical and things. And this is quite unusual. As we've seen now later on in the cinematic universe, those worlds are coming together, but we'll come to that in a bit. Number 4.
Number 4. My number 4 is Ant-Man.
Well, good old Ant-Man.
Now, I know we got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming up, and we're very excited for it. If only we could have seen it at the same time as everybody else.
Damn you, America.
Yes. But Ant-Man gets my vote because Paul Rudd gave a very, very good kind of version of the second Ant-Man. It was a bit interesting to not go for the Hank Pym style, but it was nice to see Hank Pym still set during World War II, so it was kind of within that timeline frame. It was nice to have another kind of comic relief character, because we've had a bit of a dark run up until this point. And I think Paul Rudd gave a very good and believable performance as Ant-Man, and it was nice to see another character that was previously unexplored in this kind of media.
And again, like Doctor Strange, one of Marvel's lesser characters, if you like, one of the ones you thought might not translate onto the screen, but by doing it as a comedy and a heist sort of film, I think it sort of took the audience over the unbelievability factor, if you like, if you can have that with Marvel films, and they managed to embrace it. But yeah, good film, good choice.
Thank you.
My number 4 takes us back to 2012, the Avengers, or Avengers Assemble. The first time all the characters came together, and again, I just look at how I remember watching these films, and again, having already seen Thor, Captain America, Iron Man in their own films, to see them all coming together, and of course written and directed by Joss Whedon from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, he can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. It was just a culmination of the first phase of the Marvel Universe to an extent. You got all these characters together in a big story, huge global stakes with the aliens and Loki and the Chitauri, and the fantastic battle for New York, which is such an important milestone in Marvel, because it's still referenced now all these years later. It's still got repercussions. I just think it's a great superhero film and a great action film on its own merits. Just a terrific film. The sequel, unfortunately, Age of Ultron, I thought was a disappointment. It sort of tried to reach the same beats but didn't quite get there. I wasn't really keen on Ultron as a villain, and you had again
like
a big
child,
you had a big battle at the end, the same sort of thing. So
but with less
with less of an impact, because you've seen it already,
because it was in a small little village,
Sokovia, which admittedly did have repercussions then later on. But anyway, Avengers Assemble 2012 is my number 4. Number 3. My number 3 is one of the most unusual entries into the Marvel Universe, and one which had the most potential to fall flat on its face, and it's Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
But it's in your top 3.
It's in my top 3 because it is so unusual. It's where Marvel had done superheroes and the usual super bad guys. They now went out into space in the future, and it was something a bit different for Marvel's cinema audience. And it was a film that just knocked me out. I went to see it at a preview screening in London.
Physically, or?
Literally, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was literally knocked me out. Yeah, it just came out the screen and just hit me in the knacks. Can we say that on here?
Yeah,
we've done it now. No, I went to see it at the screening in London, and I didn't know much about the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'd probably read the comic years ago, but hadn't made much of an impact. And it came on screen, and I thought, this is interesting. And I think it's that moment when the theme music kicks in, and you've got Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, Star-Lord, swaggering about.
When the titles just pop up on the screen.
Title, the real sort of comic strip title, and you've got the music, and it just doesn't really put a foot wrong. It's funny, it's exciting. You've got Rocket Raccoon, you've got Groot. I mean, what's not to love? Again, I was a little bit disappointed by the sequel. I think it had the same sort of beats, but it's hard to go back. When you make an impact with your first film.
The first impact as when you're surprised by something, and also at the same time, the story was much more linear with the second one. It was very basic. It was there's your dads. We knew it was going to go down that way when the ending. Yondu was saying about being delivered.
I mean, it was nicely done, and it tied things up nicely with his father, issues with his father. But I just felt it didn't have, and it's inevitable. You have a film that hits you like Guardians does. That the second one isn't quite going to hit. It tries. I mean, it's not a bad film by any means. I could watch it now if I had to.
Yeah.
But I'm doing this instead, so I won't watch it. But I think the first one is the one that made me go, wow, this is another Marvel winner. Number 3. Scott?
My number 3 is Captain America Civil War, which, really speaking in many respects, should have been the third Avengers film, really, because...
It's sort of Avengers 2.5, I always think.
Well, the thing is, the incredible cast of characters that made an appearance, it was almost like a test run for the Infinity War that we've received, and... I think you've explained it the best way. It was like a comic book. It was like watching a comic book unfolding before your eyes. We had the introduction of Tom. I was going to say Tom Hiddleston.
You were going to say Tom Hiddleston when you meant Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Too similar. But we had Tom Holland turned up as Spider-Man, who did a fantastic job because we haven't had the greatest run of movie Spider-Man. And the fight scene in between and everything, it ties up the kind of story around Tony Stark's father. So calling it Captain America Civil War, I probably would have gone more for an Avengers or Captain America / Iron Man Civil War, but I think the film was just fantastic.
And over to number
2.
2 for you.
2 for me, and the reason I'm going again is because we've basically just realised we've swapped roles. So in number 2 for me
Mine was cheese and ham. Carry on.
And number 2 for me is...
People are watching this.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, interesting choice.
Yeah, so we just discussed Guardians of the Galaxy, and I just think it was one of those ones that just hit you by surprise, as you said. I knew it was going to be a good film. As soon as the title screen came up, it kind of flashed on the top, Peter Quill dancing at the bottom. It was just a great opening scene, and it just didn't stop being good. Throughout the whole thing, Drax and Gamora, which weren't mentioned earlier, fantastic additions, and the cast is brilliant, and you get to see a little bit more into the Infinity Stones as well, which is that's where you learn exactly what they are. So and Benicio del Toro,
the Collector.
Yeah, the Collector was a very interesting addition, but we have seen him once before in the first Thor film.
Yes, that's right. He did
the ending credits.
Cameo appearance at the end.
Yeah.
That's what's so good about the Marvel films, in my opinion, as a big fan, is the fact that if you go right back to the beginning, you can see the seeds to what we're getting now.
It's like the phase 1, 2, 3 and 4s were ready and planned when Iron Man 1 was released.
Well, Iron Man. Thanos appears quite early. People who aren't comic book fans might not know who he is, but comic book aficionados go, "Oh, it's Thanos! Oh my God!" Of course, now that's all paying off, which is great. It shows how carefully Kevin Feige and Marvel have planned all this and moved it all forward, building on each film by having bigger hits every time.
Yeah.
Even with the smaller characters, haha, like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. They're still characters that people can relate to because they trust the Marvel name now. And I think they can do practically anything, and I suspect that they will.
Yeah.
That's your number two. My number two is Captain America Civil War. Would have been higher if not for the one which I think we're both in agreement on is the best Marvel film. Yeah, it's just a great film, as you say. It is very much a rehearsal for Infinity War. It's directed by the Russo brothers, and it's them sort of saying, how do you do a film with lots of superheroes in? You do it like that.
Do it like
just
that.
Brilliantly.
That's exactly how you do it.
It's just every character had their moment in the sun. Nobody felt like an extra. Nobody felt that they were sidelined. They all had their story arcs. They all had their moments.
Even the extra characters that turned up much later, like Spider-Man.
Well, he brought in Black Panther. First time we saw Black Panther, and he was like a pivotal character in that.
Yeah.
Part of the core of the story revolves around the assassination of his father. And did the Winter Soldier do it? Which side are they on? There's a lot in it. Brilliantly directed. I mean, that fight scene on the airport is pure comic strip. I mean, that is. I've gone on about how things look like comic strip on the screen, but this absolutely is, and it's just so beautifully directed. Great visual effects.
Paul liked it.
I thought it was all right. It's all right. It's all right. What about our number one?
Number one.
Our joint number one.
Ultimate.
And our number one for both of us.
Infinity
Wars. What else could it be? I mean, what a film! What a film!
Just spectacle.
It's still in the cinema now. If you haven't seen it,
I think it's trashed almost every other. Well, I think the only thing it hasn't beaten is Avatar. Am I right?
No, I think it's still behind Star Wars: Force Awakens and Titanic. I think, but it's fourth blockbuster of all time.
It shouldn't be fourth. It should be. If
you haven't seen it, go see it. Go on, put some more money in Marvel's pockets. They need it. It's just a great film.
I wouldn't say they need it, really.
I would, because I want to encourage people to go and see it. They're starving. Kevin Feige and his people are starving. Get out there and feed them.
Tony Stark is begging on the street.
Exactly. No, it's just a great film. I mean, it delivers on everything we wanted over these last 10 years. It brings all the Infinity Stone and Thanos thing to the fore, and it brings all these characters together. Twice as many, possibly 3 times as many as in Civil War, with new characters and lots of new characters, and it's just visual, and it's spectacle after spectacle, and the characters all split into different groups and they all interact well together. It's just, for me, it's the faultless superhero film.
It's what we've been waiting for, and it's not even over yet.
I know. Well, of course, we've got part 2 coming next year, which will presumably draw a line under this part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But what a way to finish. If part 2 is half as good as part 1, then it will be twice as good as half. What am I trying to say?
I wish I knew.
I wish I knew as well.
It's going to be good.
We like Marvel.
We
like the Avengers Infinity War, basically.
Yes.
And it's our number one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Strong deserving places.
Marvel Cinematic Universe 2008 to 2018. Let us know what your favourites are. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe and like us. Like us particularly, and subscribe to us.
And look forward to the future of Marvel this year. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Next year we've got Spider-Man.
We've got Captain Marvel, of course. I think it's coming at the beginning of next year. Then we've got...
Which is the secret scene at the end. I say secret scene, there are no secrets anymore.
We've got Avengers Part 2, Part 4. And we've got... the next Spider-Man, which is now called Far From Home, which is coming up, which starts filming next month, and that'll be out next summer. So lots going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is our best of so far. So like and subscribe us, and let us know your thoughts on your favourites from Marvel. That's these two blokes signing off for now.